Okay, I started
Yep.
it. Hopefully this is recording. Okay. So my group and I did Middle Eastern Americans with Gwen Hill, Sam, and Andrew. The definition of ethnicity is a category socially defined by common language, religion, nationality, history, or another cultural factor. Key aspects: education. In the past, the education system in the Middle East was far behind because it lacked resources, money, and equality. Today, the MENA regions invested to create an expansion in a primary, secondary, and tertiary education, although they still lack the skills causing high levels of education with mass unemployment. Social justice. Many Middle Eastern regions are diverse in traditions and religions. This causes these areas to differ in equality for political, race, and economic factors. Equal rights. Many laws have been set to ensure equal rights within Middle Eastern regions, one of them being the Equal Employment Middle East, sorry, my thing. Go off. Opportunity Commission, because of the increase in charges related to religion discrimination. Struggles through history. Since 9/11, the Middle East Americans have faced many stereotypes from Americans. Along with that, their living conditions have worsened because of war in their countries. They're seen as terrorists to many because of their cultural relations to 9/11. This causes them to be discriminated against throughout countries, but mainly the United States, because we are in war with Iraq. These regions face impacts within their villages/communities. Stereotypes debunked. All men in turbans are Muslim. In the United States, many associate the clothing a person wears to their religion. In this case, a common mistake is Sikh men are Muslim. Sikhism originated from India and is unrelated to Islam. All Muslim women are uneducated and oppressed. Many women in the Muslim culture live happy lives. They are educated and productive in society. Muslim women also attend universities just like men. Islam is an inherently violent faith. Majority of Islams live a peaceful lifestyle, yet a few have advocated for violence as a political tool. Muslims did not invent terrorism. Okay.
So some of the cultural aspects are oh Lord. The cultural impacts on the U.S. Most Middle Eastern Americans are born in the United States. Um, I mean, it's been estimated that around 1 to 4 million are living in the U.S. A third of them either live in New York or Detroit, Los Angeles, Long Beach area, somewhere in there. And they've had a harder time in the United States, especially when it comes to finding work in major cities. Recently, there has been a lot of hate surrounding Middle Eastern Americans because of the war and the global economy and how that's going. But most immigrants move farther away into isolated areas of the U.S. to prevent themselves and their families from being exposed to the hate surrounding their culture and people. In the past, it was a lot easier for Middle Eastern Americans to assimilate into the American culture while still holding on to their Middle Eastern beliefs and culture. The newer immigrants have a harder time of assimilating because of where the world stands today with accepting others. Some of the historical and current figures that are Middle Eastern American, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce their names. Farouk el-Baz Egyptian, he was an American scientist who worked with NASA to assist in the planning of scientific exploration of the moon. Aden al-Matari, he was Saudi Arabian. He was an inventor and a scholar in nanotechnology and nanomedicine. And Omar M. Yagi, he was Jordanian, the American reticular chemistry pioneer. He was a winner of the Wolf Prize in Chemistry, which is a relatively prestigious award. And some of the current events going on in the U.S. Surrounding the Middle Eastern community includes, I mean, the recent COVID deal. Everyone's being exposed to that. Just recently, the port of Beirut had a massive explosion that was pretty devastating. Even though that's not here on U.S. soil, it is still one of those. It was kind of like 9/11. It's globally felt, but especially to those Middle Eastern people that are really connected to back home, they will probably really feel that. And Saudi Arabia is actually hosting its first women's golf tournament, which is pretty major in women's rights and women being able to do a lot of these different things that for a long time in history they weren't able to. These are pretty monumental occasions for different reasons, and they mean a lot to those who embrace their Middle Eastern heritage and are connected. So some of the facts in history within Oklahoma regarding Middle Eastern Americans. During the late 1800s, the Middle Eastern people began to move into Oklahoma, specifically for multiple reasons, as it was the last of the wild frontier. It was Indian land, so it was pretty new, relatively untouched, and there was a lot of land to buy up and a lot of prosperity. But then a massive spike occurred in the Middle Eastern population in Oklahoma shortly after World War I started, due to the war overseas and a lot of displacement. Germans, pretty much anything involving Europe and the Middle East, a lot of people were displaced, and the U.S. was a good place to go. But some of the history of Middle Eastern people that played a major role in the U.S. Dr. Nazi Zudi, who introduced heart surgery to Oklahoma in '57. The first surgery, the first open heart surgery was actually done in 1959 by him, and it was successful. And so I believe he played a pretty major role in Oklahoma's history as well. And that's what I have for this slide. And then kind of our group reflection, excuse me. Sam, Gwen, and I, we all kind of came up with this. While researching, we've learned and found new information relating to the Middle Eastern Americans. This helps us be more open-minded and less biased towards different ethnic groups. We've seen how many stereotypes were debunked with their cultures, as well as some of the information we learned. We can kind of help educate other people to lessen some of the stereotypes on Middle Eastern Americans and better understand them ourselves.
And then these are our references. And that is it. Let's see. Oh god. Can't figure out how to stop it.
I think you just hit recording again.
There
Maybe.
it is.